Hi everyone. Today and tomorrow is a development class. Today day 16. Let's see what are we going to learn today. Today our focus is quickly go through the previous session and then we'll talk about the primitive data types date and what are the different methods which are available in the primitive data type date. And we will talk about the primitive data type date time. And then we will talk about the primitive data type Boolean and the ID. And then we will discuss about the data types that are there in the Salesforce and what is the object, how to create a custom object navigation steps, and what are the sObject data types, how to create a sObject data type. And then we will talk about the sObject data type creating the new. And then next one, we will see about the collection data type and conclusion, quiz, homework, and today's interview. Now, quickly, what did we learn in the last class?
Data types.
Data types, long, decimal, double.
Primitive types like primitive data type, sObject data type.
We have seen
collection data type.
what are the things we have seen?
Yeah. Enumeration data type. Primitive data type, we say in integer, long, double, decimal, date, date time, Boolean, and string ID. That thing.
Okay, so we have seen the
How to
last class we have seen how to use a visual force.
as
In
tab.
which other places we can use the visual force, like using in the button,
Primitive
calling the
tab.
visual force from button, calling from link, and page layout. How can I call the visual force from the page layout? How to create an action for the visual force page. And for the object manager, how to create a object manager using the visual force. Then we have seen the apex, advantages, disadvantages, all of those we have seen. And then we have discussed the primitive data type. What are the data types which we have?
Primitive data type.
Primitive
What are
data,
the data
data
types
type,
we have?
object to data type, collection
Collection data
data type,
type.
enumeration data
In
type.
Salesforce,
Primitive data type,
first one, primitive data type.
primitive data type,
sObject.
sObject data
And
type,
next one, sObject
Object,
Collection data type.
collective data type, enumeration, enum
Data
data
type.
type.
collection
and the
data type,
third one,
Third one, collection.
Collective
collection
data
data
type.
type.
fourth one, enumeration data type,
And the fourth one is,
enumeration data type.
what is the fourth one?
enumeration
Enumeration.
data type.
Enumeration.
Enum, which is called as a enum. So this is what we have seen in the last session. Right, out of this, we have seen the primitive data type called. What are the things that we have seen in the primitive data type?
Integer,
String we
long,
have seen.
Integer,
Integer we have seen.
integer,
Decimal,
Long, decimal, double,
double,
double.
date
And then we
Date.
have seen the differences between the decimal and double.
date. Yes, decimal.
date,
Date.
Right, so little bit
Date.
introduction about the date. So these all we have seen.
execute
So today we are going to talk about more in terms of date. So date is nothing but used to store the date value such as a birth date or an event date. So example, we have a date DT1. Date primitive data type in Apex does not store the time. As we have discussed last time, date is just holds the date, that's it, it does not hold the time. If we need to store the time, then we have to use the another data type called primitive data type called DateTime. So by using that, we can store it. So last time we have seen how to use the date.today. Basically, date.today Today is the method. So within the date primitive data type, we have a multiple methods. We have multiple methods. Example, today method. Today method is used to get the today's date. Whatever the today's date is there, we can get it using the date.today. And DateTime.now.date method is used to get the current date type. So this we will see later. And new instance is basically you have a year, month, day. From that you wanted to build a date. So you have given the year, you have given the month, you have given the day. So based on that, you wanted to build a proper format of the date. So which you can use it, date, new instance, and you can give the year, month, day. So let's go ahead and see in the developer console. So here date.today is basically it will print today's date. It will print today's date. So date.new instance. New instance is basically whatever the date, year, date, month, if you give it, so it will give you that particular date. So this is what we have seen in the last class. For example, if I execute these two, highlight this, execute the highlighted one. So what will happen? It has given the today's date. What is the today's date? Today is February 15th. So that's the same it gave. And I just gave the year and month and date. Year, month, date. So I just gave in the 3 parameters here. So by using the date.new instance, what will happen is it will convert the custom date. It will convert similar to the whatever the date format is there, it will convert. Right? So this is what we have seen in the last session. Now we are going to see some more methods in the date. So we have a different add days. So we have a add days. Add days is basically to add the specified number of the additional days to date. Additional days to date. For example, right now this is the today's date, right? So today's date is, this is new instance. New instance. Now I'm going to add the days to the today. So what I'll do is date, new date equal to, you can write add days either date.today dot add days. For example, I'm adding the 4 days. Whatever the today date is there, I'm adding the 4 days. So either you can write it this way or else what you can do is date.today is already, this is storing it. Already this is storing the today's date. So what I can do is instead of writing like this, simply I'll use the variable called today. Today dot add days. So what I have done, I have replaced this one. I have replaced the date.today because date.today is already I'm storing in one variable called today. So today dot add days 4. Now let me print. So I'm going to print this. So I'll print both of them. So the first one is using date.today. And I'm going to print new date. And this is, I'm just using the today. And I'll be printing the, both are same. So I'll change this new date one. Is this clear? Any questions on the add days? So now I'm going to highlight this, execute it. Execute the highlighted one. So date dot today is displaying the 19th because I have added the days, 4 days I have added. So today is 15th. If I add a 4 days, it will become a 19. And also instead of writing the date dot today and then dot add days, instead of that, what I did is just I have used the variable called date. Whatever this is there, right? So whatever the date dot today is there. So date dot today I have stored in one variable. And instead of using the date dot today, I have just used the variable called date. You can do either this way or you can do either this way. You can directly write add days to the date dot today, or else you can store this date dot today in one variable and use that variable dot add days and the 4. Both of them will give the same result. So this is the 6th one and this is 8th one. So 6th line, it is printing the new date as same as the 8th line. Both are printing the same. So basically either you can use that way or this way. So that is add days. Now moving to the next method, add month. So basically it is going to add the specified number of additional months to date. For example, this month is a second. This month is second. Now I'm going to add 4 months. So what I'll do is I'll add months. I'm going to take, let's say date, new date 2 equal to today dot add months. So I'm going to add months to it. So what is the output that I'm going to get it here? What is the output? Will I get it? What is the output will I get if I add 4 months?
15/06/2020.
month.
April
15.
2020.
So if I execute this 2 lines, what will happen? Will it execute or will it give an error?
That will give an error because that don't have today's value.
Right. So if I execute these 2 lines, what will happen? It is going to give me the error because this today is declared here. I'm not executing the entire thing. So let me execute all of this. Execute the highlighted one. Now, month is added the 4 to the current month and it gave the 6th month and today's date. Similarly, like a month, we have a year also, it will add the year. So there is a add years, which will, by using this, what we can do is we can add the number of additional years to the date. And the next one is a day. Day is nothing but it will give you the what is the day today. What is the day today? Returns the day of month component of a date. For example, right now what is happening? Date is giving this, today's date is giving this, and month is this one, right? But if I use a day, what will happen? It will just give 15th or it will just give 19th. Let me show you that. So right now we have added the month here. After this, I'm trying to find out the day. So for the day, what I'll do is date dot. So I'm going to use date equal to new date 234 equal to today dot. What I'm going to do, day. I'll be adding the day. Now, what will happen if I execute this? Will it give error or will it show the day?
Error because keywords does not use variable name. New date 234.
Can you repeat that again?
Variable name, new date. It's a keyword name. Keywords.
Yes. No, it is a new date 234. Okay, let me take something else here. Find day. So I'll take a variable name, something like a find day. And what will happen if I execute this?
It will work.
It will work.
It will not. Why?
Not working.
You didn't
Because
mention the date.
Take
Number of days you
string
didn't
value
mention.
we have to take. String value we have to take.
Sorry.
Not date.
go ahead.
The variable string we need to take. Instead of date,
Yes, why it will not work?
instead of date, string we need to take. Variable.
Number of
What
days we
is the
have to mention.
output that I'm going to get today dot day?
Some number.
Only
Number, yeah.
Only number.
Day,
Only number.
example 15.
Can you repeat that? What I'm going to get the output today dot
today
day?
date 15.
Today's date
15.
15.
So today's date dot today, I'll get 2023 02/15. Now from this, I'm trying to find the day. So what is the output will it give from this?
Including day,
15.
Sunday.
Day 15.
15.
Only
15
15.
only.
15 only.
It will try to find the number today's date, which is the 15th. Which it is going to give me the value of 15th. Now let me take this. Instead of storing it here, what I'll do is I'll directly print. I'll directly print the value. So let's go ahead and execute. Now what is happening? It is just printing the day, whatever the today's date is there, just it is printing that particular date. It is working here, but the same thing if I try to initialize it, why it won't work. If I try to execute it, illegal assignment from integer to date. Illegal assignment from integer to date. What is the issue here? Line number 15.
We need to take in
Line number 15.
We have to take a variable as int.
The output is integer.
What is the problem here?
The output is integer.
Data type.
To take in
We are taking the date as
variable
date.
declaration is a problem.
Okay. What is the data type, output data type for this today dot day?
Integer.
Integer.
Is it a date or is it an integer or is it a
Integer.
Boolean? What is the data type here?
Integer.
Integer.
Integer. So I'm not able to hear you guys. Are you able to hear me?
Yes, Swapna.
Ma'am.
Yes,
Yes.
yes, ma'am.
We are hearing you.
I
And others
cannot hear you.
We are talking, Swapna, but
I think you guys are speaking, but I'm not able to hear you. Can you hear me now?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes.
ma'am.
We're audible.
How about right now?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So this will be given today dot day is integer, but we are storing into the date, right? So in that case, that's the reason it is giving the illegal assignment from integer to date. So the data type here, it should be integer. If I give an integer, it will execute it and it will give the output. 50. So that is to find the day, whatever the date is there, to find that. And then we have a day of year. So it returns the day of year component of a date. So whatever the year is there, it will just print that year. And next one is a days between. Days between has a one parameter within this, which is a second date. So days between is basically returns the number of days between the date that called the method and the specified date. So in order to find the differences between the two dates. So if you wanted to find how many days the differences is there between the 2 days, if you wanted to find that, then you have to use a method called days between. So in the days between, you have to pass only one date. So that means how am I going to use it? So let's go ahead and see that. So let's take example of. So now here I'm going to implement days between. So in the days between. So what I'll declare is, first I'll declare the first date. First date. So in first date, I'll just take a random some year 2022, month is 1, and the day is, assume that 1. Now this is the first date, and I'll take the second date. I'll take second date. So second date, I'll give probably second month and the first. Now I wanted to find out the days differences between these two. How many days are differences between these two? I need to find out. So in order to find out that, we have to use days between. That means how will I use? First, I need to take whatever the first date is there. First date dot, then I have to use days between. Days between, and then
Second date.
date. So in order to identify the days between, first I need to take the first date, and then for that I need to add a method called days between. So that means I'm going to find this date and whatever the inside the parameter is there, second date. Between these two dates, I'm going to find out the number of days. How many days are there between these two? Now, what is the output? Will I get it? Will I get a date output or will I get an integer output?
Integer.
Integer, ma'am.
So
Integer.
in that case, I have to use the integer data type. Then I'm going to say days between. I'll just say number of days equal to this. Now let me print system.debug. I'll just print the number of days plus. Now I'm going to execute this. Execute the highlighted one. So 31 days. It is giving 31 days difference is there. So now when we use this method in the real time, whenever you wanted to find out, for example, you wanted to send an email after 30th day, or you wanted to escalate that particular record from the code. In those scenarios, what we will do is we will try to identify what is the created date of the record. And from today, if I do minus, will it be more than 30 days or will it be more than 20 days? If it is more than 30 days, then the priority should be escalated. The priority should be escalated. So they have some kind of a rule that we should not keep any case more than 30 days. If that rule is there within the company, so after 30 days, if there are still case which is created 30 days back, then that should be escalated. So in those scenarios, we use this days between. We use days between. Similarly, we have a days in month. If you wanted to return number of days in the month, number of days in the month for the specified year and month. Format is it returns the date as a string using the local of the country. Basically, what it does is if you are returning some output is some different way is there. You wanted to make it format. Let's assume that I'm passing this. So I have this date, right? Now this date, if I print this date, date.new instance. So let me print the second date. So I'm printing the second date. So when I print the second date, the format is a different. The format it is 2022-020100 like this is there, right? In case if you wanted to change the format in a different way. So what we can use is we can use the method called format. So let me take, in order to do that, I have to use whichever the date I wanted to make that second date dot, I have to use the format. I have to use the format. So I'll simply print this in the system.debug. System.debug second date in format. Now I'll execute this highlighted one. See, the format has changed. The format has changed. Now it gave me like, before it was YYMMDD. Now it is giving me it is giving me
Month,
Month,
day,
Ma'am,
year.
DD, YY.
Date, month, year.
it is giving me the DDMMYYY. So this is the format it is giving. In case if you want a different format, you can apply that format. So when we use this format is, for example, I have a scenario. The scenario is there is a lightning application which we have implemented, lightning application or the visual force, which we have implemented is whenever the user enters at age, as soon as the user enters the age, I want the date should be automatically populated. That means user is not entering the date here. User is entering the age here. Whenever they enter the age, at the back end, the date calculation should happen automatically, which we are doing it using the JavaScript. Assume that we are doing using the JavaScript. When we convert, when we are doing the calculation here, definitely the format is going to change. And the output is written in a different way. So it has written 2022-0303, and then it has given some timestamp. Now this is the format it gave, but Salesforce does not accept this format, or Salesforce does not accept any other format. Let's assume that. In that case, what you can do is, if you wanted to convert this date to the specific format, you can use date.format. So it returns the date as a string. So whenever it is returning here, so the output which we have seen, so let's go here. The output which we are seeing is, it is a string data type. It's not the date data type. Now, if I try to let initialize, if I say that date new format equal to format date. Now I'm going to print this new format. So if I try to execute this, what will happen? It will say that illegal assignment string to date, because the format is always returns the string. It doesn't return the date data type. It is always string. So in real time, we use this format in very rare scenario, because once we convert the date from date to string, sometimes because of milliseconds, seconds, the date will be changed. The date will be changed. Sometimes what happens is in the Sydney, there will be because of some minutes gap or seconds gap, what will happen immediately, it will change the date before it turn to the next day. Okay, sometimes it happens this. So we have to be very careful if we are using the format. Check whether it is working, the date format is working as per the client local location. Wherever the client location is there, wherever the client are using the application, is it properly formatting as per their local time zone? If it is working fine, then it will be, you can use it. But sometimes we see that it will be always difficult to convert that into date to string whenever we use the format. And the next one is a is lead leap year. This is a leap year, not lead. Is leap year. So is leap year is returns the true if the specified year is a leap year. So usually we say that leap year is, ideally we have how many days in the year? 365.
365.
Right? In case if we have a 366 days, then it is called as a leap year. Now,
Leap year.
in case if you wanted to find current year is a leap year, based on that, I wanted to change the number of days between, or I wanted to apply some other logic. So in order to find that, you will use a is leap year. This is not a lead, it is a spelling mistake here. This is a leap year. Is leap year. So if you say is leap year, that means if it is this year is a is leap year, then it will return true. Otherwise, it will return the false. For example, if I wanted to find out this year, what are the current year is there? So is that a leap year or not? If you wanted to find out, you can use the second dot dot. So this is a format. Is leap year. Okay, so now I'm going to use the second date. So is leap year, what is the output of the is leap year? Is it a date, string, or
Boolean.
Boolean?
Boolean.
Boolean. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use Boolean
Is leap year.
leap year equal to, I'll take the second date dot is leap year.
Sapna, we don't need to pass.
Leap year spelling, ma'am.
Sorry.
It will take from date offset directly the year. Do we need to pass the year value?
Can you repeat your question again?
Do we need to pass year value specifically, or it will take directly from the date?
It can take it directly from the date because date is already having the year. Right? So you can either take directly from the year, or you can, if you wanted to customize it, for example, you wanted to know the previous year. You wanted to know whether the previous year is leap year or not. In that case, what you can do, you have to customize your date by using the new instances. Right? By using the new instances, you have to customize it.
Okay.
Or else you can take it as a, instead of that, if you wanted to take this, if you wanted to take date, you can take the date, but you need to pass the here. Otherwise, if you wanted to customize it, let me show you that. So for example, right now I'm customizing it. So in this second date, I already have a year. I already have a year. So now I'm going to take is leap year. Now let me print this system.debug. So I'm going to print this. This is a custom leap year. Now this is one. Another one, for example, I wanted to take directly from date. If I wanted to take directly from date, So in that case, I need to pass the year here. For example, I wanted to check current year. What are the current year is there? Is that year is a leap year or not? So let's go ahead and see. Now here I'll give second date and give 24. Now let me execute this. Execute the highlighted one. Okay. So it is a duplicate. So variable is duplicate. So I'm changing the variable name.
Swapna, in debug also we have to change.
Oh yeah.
Year
Leap year
39th
one.
line.
Yeah. So let me execute
Function
this.
also capital Y, I think.
Capital Y. Method does not exist. Incorrect signature. Void is leap year from the type date. So
34th line.
So it has to be capital Y. Second date, new instance, leap year. 1, 2, 3. Let's go ahead and execute it. 34 line. What is the problem in 34 line?
Leap year.
Leap, any spelling.
Spelling.
No, that is a variable. No?
What is the problem in 34 line?
Method name.
So let's go ahead and execute it. Boolean date is leap year integer. Oh, it's a non-static. Okay, we have not seen the static, non-static. Okay, now I cannot take that. Instead of what I'll do is I'll just take this and directly use this in the system debug. Okay, we have not discussed the non-static, static. So right now, let's not focus on this. So here, the leap year is false. We have given the 2023. So for example, if you wanted 2024, whether the 2024 is a leap year or not. So highlight this, click on this. So it is a true. For example, if you wanted to use the second date. Second date, I'm taking the second date. Now, do I need to pass the year or not? If I take a custom one.
No, ma'am.
Method does not exist. Incorrect signature. Execute the highlighted one.
It's also non-static.
Okay. So what is that means? We cannot take the custom one. What is the error it is giving? Static. Static method cannot be referenced from the non-static Boolean data type. Okay. We'll discuss this later. For now, let's not focus on this static, non-static. So for now, let's go ahead and use the date. We will see that whenever the static and non-static comes, that time I'll repeat this. So for now, I'm going to take the date dot is leap year 2024. Okay. So this will give whether the year is a leap year or not.
Swapna,
Yeah.
to disturb you one thing. Can we try with today, date.today dot is leap year?
Date dot today dot. Okay, it's already stored here. So if you wanted to try today dot leap year, let's go ahead and execute it.
No.
We cannot take it.
Okay. Thanks, Swapna.
So that means we cannot take directly from the date.today or from the customization.
So we need to use
Date dot.
yes. Okay.
We have to always.
Can we use that second date in function is leap year and in bracket second date? Date dot is leap year in bracket second date.
Here it is a second date. Yeah.
Variable does.
You highlighted second date is not highlighted.
Yeah. Method does not exist.
No.
Incorrect.
Yes. That means we have to pass their integer only.
Yeah. Only the thing is we have to pass it integer. You cannot pass the complete date here.
We can extract the year from today's date in second day.
Sorry, can you repeat that?
I'm saying line number 33. If we
In
take a
case if you
string,
want, yeah, in case if you want, you can get the year from this and pass that year here.
okay.
So we have a another one which is called a year. Similar like a day, month, year. So in case if you want this specific one, you can take the year from this and pass it here. So let's try that. That is also, let's see. How can we get the year? We have not discussed yet that one. Did we discuss how to get the year? Day of year.
Year.
So by using the day of year, we can get the year. So let's go ahead and see. Now we have a second date. Now from this, I wanted to get the day of year. So day of year is integer or data type? Date or
Integer.
Integer.
integer. So let's take an integer. Now I'm going to take new date
Yeah.
equal to second
Second date dot day of the year. Day of year.
day of year.
Yeah.
Now I'm going to pass this new date here. So let's print the new date also. This is, we are getting the new year. Now I'm going to print new year system.debug. New year. Perfect. Let's see. Now let's execute this one first. Execute the highlighted one. We are getting the what are we getting here? 32. Why 32 is coming? Why 32 is coming? What is the day of year?
2024 we should get.
2024.
But what is the day of year? Returns the day of year component of the date.
The number of days.
Yeah, that might be number of days. Like January month will be 31 days and 1st of February will be 32, 30,
Yeah.
32nd day.
How many till
Like
date?
that.
How many days completed? It will calculate maybe.
Yes, it is a number of days. Returns the day of year component.
Day of a year, ma'am. From the 365 days, it will calculate.
The
I
date.
think so.
Okay.
Yes. So we will not get a year from the day of year. There is another method for the year. So day of year is only returns the day of year, days of the whatever that particular year is there. So for that component date, what are the date we have passed, those days it is going to display. Now hold on it, but to identify the year, we have a few more methods here. Now the second one is same day. This is to date to compare, returns the true if the date that called the method is the same as the specific date. Basically, it is comparing the two dates, whether the previous date and the current date is the same or not. If you wanted to identify, then you have to use same day and then pass that here. So it is similar like whatever the current date and the current date, that means first date. So first date, whatever the first date is there, first date dot is same day and then pass the second day. Pass the second day. Right? So by using this, you will get it. Just hold on for that, Archana. We have not yet discussed that. So first date and then dot is same day. Inside that, we have to send the second date. So using this, what it will do, it will try to identify whether what are the first date, second date, both are the same or not. So if it is a same, it will return the Boolean value. If it is a false, then it will return the false. And then we have a month. Month is the one returns the month component of the date. So what are the month component? For example, if I give it today's date dot today, from that dot month, it is going to identify what are the current month is there. Months between, if you wanted to return the number of months between the two dates, then you can use months between. Then we have a new instance. New instance is the one which we have seen already. If you wanted to custom date, you wanted to build it by giving the year, month, day. Using that, you can use using the new instance, you can build the date format. Parse. Parse is the one which will, whatever you are giving the string date, what it will do, it will convert into it will change the format of whatever the string date is there, it will change the format of from string to date. Similar like we have a parse in JavaScript, right? Date dot parse. If you pass some string value, what it will do, it will take the string value and it will convert into the date. So for example, let's system.debug. And here I'm going to print parse date. Now, let's say that I wanted to date dot parse. So here I need to pass some string. So string, let's say that 21, let's say month, date, year. System.debug, let's execute it. So what it will do, it will convert in the date format. Whatever the date format is there, it will try to convert. Now, today is the one which is going to return the today's date, month, and year, which we have already seen. To start off month, it returns the first of the month for the date that is called. So basically, it will return the start of the month. It will return the start of the month. And again, start of the week, it will be whatever the starting of the week, it will print it. For example, if I take date dot today, so I have this date, let's assume this, or let's take a date dot today. So I'm going to take today's date. From the today's date, what I'll do is I'll try to find out start of the month and start of week. So start of month, return the first of the month, and this will return the start of the week for the date. Whatever the date is there, whatever the starting of the week is there, it will print the number of the date, whatever the date is there, starting of the week. So here I'm going to define date. So first I'll take the start of month equal to whatever the today's date is there. So I'll take today's date dot. Apex is a case insensitive, whether the capital, small letter does not matter. So you can write it capital or a small letter, it is fine because apex is a in case sensitive. So if you write anything capital, smaller also it works. Start of month. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to print this system.debug and then start of the month.
Swapna, variable declaration 46th line. Is it date, start of the month?
What is the output I'm going to get it? Let's see this. Today's dot to start of the month. What I'm going to get it?
Date.
Let me print this. Okay, so I'll just take, let's execute. So start of the month is what it is printing?
Date.
Date.
First
Date is printing.
First date of the month, first of the month.
But the month start date.
Yes, whatever the month start date is there, it will print that. Now, if I take a start of week, what are the week start date is there? Whatever the start of week is there. So it will print. So start of week is today is 15th. So 12 is the
Right.
start of the week. Right? It always starts the week of 12th. So if you go to the calendar, I cannot pull my calendar. So it is basically Sunday, it starts the week. So whatever the starting of the week is there, it will give that particular starting of the week. And next one is a value of. Now value of is also converts the whatever the string date is there, it will convert into the date. Now you might be thinking that I have already parts is there. Why do we have a value of? Why do we have a value of? You can use either this or this. But if you are using a value of, it expects the string date in certain format. Whatever the string format is there, it expects in certain format. Now, whatever we have seen in the parse, let's go to the parse. So here in the parse, what we have given in slash, right? Now, same thing if I do it. Now, instead of parse, I'll just give the value of. Instead of parse, I'll just give a value of. So what will happen? Does it accept it? It says that invalid date. It says invalid date because value of always expect the what are the parameter value is their string date. It expects in terms of YYYY-MM-DD format. It always expects this format. If you are giving any other format, the value of does not work. Value of does not work. Now let me change this. So the format is 4 y's minus hyphen 12 hyphen 27.
Month, day.
Now, if I execute this, it will give me the date format. Okay, so value of does not accept any other format. It accepts only the certain format. If you wanted to take that and convert it, make sure that your parameter, whatever the internal parameter is there, here the parameter is string date. So this string date parameter should be format of this format. Otherwise, it will not convert. It will not return the date. And next one, we have a year. Year returns the year component of date. Now let's go back to our scenario, which we were discussing it. Now, we were discussing about IsLeapYear, right? Now, if I wanted to get a year of this, now second date has it 2024 to 1. Now, if I wanted to get a year, what should I need to use it? Which method do I use?
Instead of day of year, we need to use year.
So we have to use the year. Now, from this year, what is the output? Will I get it?
Integer.
24.
2020.
2024. Now I have the value of 2024, so I can pass it here. Now what will happen if I pass it, instead of giving a hard-coded value, I just wanted to pass from the second date, and whatever the second date, complete date is there, from that I have taken the only year, and that year I am passing it to the leap year.
True.
Right? So you can do that way. But you cannot give the second date here.
Only you can give the integers, no?
Only integer, which is in a format of 4y, y. Now, if you do not want to write in these two steps, okay. Now, I do not want to write the line of code in 2 lines. I wanted to make it in 1 line. You can use that. Instead of taking this second date here and dot year, what you can do is dot year directly here, and then this data type should be integer. So you can combine these 2 lines into 1 line and get the integer of the year, whatever the year is there, and pass that here, here. Is that clear?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Next, similar like a date, we also have a date time. So date time is, if we use this date time to store date and time value, such as timestamp or date and time of an event. So whenever I use the date time, before what we used to get it, we used to get only the date. Whenever the time is, we cannot get the time. Time is always 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, right? Whenever I execute certain code or certain logic here by executing this specific lines, I always get 0, 0, 0, because I'm using the data type called date here. If you want a time to be displayed, then we have to use the primitive data type called DateTime. So example, DateTime DT2. So DateTime is also having so many methods, similar like a date method. So I'll not be going through those all because those methods are common for date and DateTime. So similar like a DateTime.now. Now for the date, in order to get the today's date, we used to have a today here. Today is the method. For the date time, we have a method called DateTime.now. For date time, we have date.now. DateTime.now. Now, can I use it today? Instead of now, I just wanted to use here today. And what will happen if I use it today? Will it accept it or not? it will not accept. It will say that this method is not available. In DateTime, if you wanted to get today's date, then you have to use the function called method called now. By using this method, what will happen? You will be able to get today's date. Along with that, you will be able to get the time. You will be able to get the time. Now I am executing both date and date time. Right? So date is giving just the date, and wherever the time is there, it is 0000. Now here it is giving me the today's date and as well as the time. Right? So it is giving both the information. Now we have a new instance similar to the date. So in the date also we have a date.new instance, similar like DateTime.new instance, but here the parameters are more. Whereas in the date.new instance, the parameters are only 3 parameters we passed: year, month, day. But whereas in the DateTime, you have to pass the parameter along with the year, month, day. You have to pass hours, minutes, seconds. This needs to be passed. Now, similar like a date, we also have a add days here, where you can add a number of days to the current date time. And hours. So hour is the one which from that you can able to identify what is the, like whenever we use the date time, right? So for example, if I use a date time now, what happened? It is printing the current date as well as the time it is printing. Now from that, I wanted to get hour. So whatever the current hour is there, I wanted to get that hour. So in that case, what we can use is, we can use the method called hour. So let's go ahead and see that. Debug, open anonymous, click on clear. So here I'm going to use date time. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to declare the date time. So let's take my date and time equal to date time dot now. Okay, from this date and time, I wanted to get the hour. So what I'll do system.debug. I'll directly take the hour plus my date time dot, I'm using the hour. Okay, I'm not passing anything inside this parameter. So let's click on this, execute the highlighted one. Giving the current hour. So based on your time zone, whatever the time zone is there, it will give that particular hour. Right? So if it is the current time is 6:30, so it will not give 6:30, right? 6 o'clock 30 minutes. It will not give 6 o'clock 30 minutes. It will give just 6. So wherever your time zones are there, or whatever the time zone that is there in the Salesforce, right? Whenever you go to the your user, so go to the your user, and whatever the local time zone is there, based on that, it will display the hours here. Now, similarly, we have a value of is also similar to the date. So here also the date format should be YYY, MMM, DD, and you can pass the hour, minute, seconds. So that what will happen, it will convert into the date time. This is the date time. So I'm not going through all the methods in the date time, because most of the methods are common for date and date time. And the next one is a Boolean. Boolean is used to store true or false. Example, you can say Boolean number equal to 1. Now we have a method in the Boolean. So Boolean declaration is basically, let's go here. Let me close all of this. debug open. Now I'm going to declare a Boolean. So our declaration of Boolean is Boolean new value equal to either I can say true or false. This is how I declare it. But in Boolean also we have a method. There is a method called value of. So for example, you have some string. From the string you wanted to convert to the Boolean. So let's say Boolean b value equal to, I'm going to convert this. So let's say Boolean dot value of. So in the value of, I'm going to pass a string. If I pass a string true, so what is the output that I'm going to get it? System.debug. So I'll say Boolean value. And say b value. Now let me execute this, execute the highlighted one. It is giving the true. Now, for example, I have some different string. I do not have a true value. Let's assume that I have the string called Akash is there. Okay, so what I'll do, this is a string. So what are the string I'm passing to the Boolean? How does it understand whether it will take this value as a true or false? So by default, it will take it as a false, because string value you will be able to, if you are passing the true, only that time it will consider as a Boolean. Other than true, if you are passing any string, it will prepare it as a false. And next one, we have a ID. ID is basically used to store a unique identifier of a record. That means whenever we go to the specific record, we have a 18-digit ID on top. So in order to store that 18-digit ID, what you can do is you can use the data type called ID. So similar like ID equal ID and then variable name equal to, you can store this 18-digit number. So this primitive data type, very rarely we use it because we do not hard code anything in the Apex classes. So, and we should not be suggesting to hard code this. So it is a very rare data type which we use it in the real time. So this is normal declaration ID equal to, how can I get the 18-digit ID? If you go to the Salesforce and if you go to the account, open this any account, on top you will see this is the 18-digit ID. This is 18-digit ID. You copy this and declare it ID, and you can give any variable name. So let's assume that ACC ID. So let me go to the developer console. ID, and then I'm going to take ID. I'll say account ID. This is equal to. Right. This is the way we use it in the real time, but it's very rare. We don't do the hard coding of anything. And next, let's move on to the data types. What are the different data types that we have discussed last time? How many data types we have?
4 data types.
Primitive, non-primitive.
Primitive data type,
Primitive data
non
type,
Primitive,
sObject,
sObject
collective,
collection data type,
enumeration.
enumeration data type.
Yes, so there are 4 data types: primitive data type, sObject data type, collection data type, enumeration. For now, right now, we have just discussed the primitive data type.
primitive data types only.
Now we are going to go for sObject data type. Next one is we are going to go for sObject data type. Now sObject data type. Before understanding the sObject data type, we need to understand the object. Whoever is new to the Salesforce, for them, this is a slide. So object is nothing but objects are the way to store the records in Salesforce. And Salesforce objects are database table. It is similar like database table that permits you to store the data that is specified to an organization. That means by using the object, you can store the data in the form of rows and columns, similar like a data tables. So objects are divided into two types. First one is a standard object. Second one is a custom object. Standard object is nothing but the objects which is provided by Salesforce. These are the default objects which is provided by the Salesforce. Like example, account, contact, lead, case, opportunity, product, price book. So these all objects, what are the Salesforce is providing it, right? For what are the Salesforce is providing, those are called standard object. And we have another object concept is called custom object. Custom objects are created by admin and a development team based on the requirement from the client. So what are the client is providing it, based on that, the admin team or a development team will be creating the custom object. Now, what is the differences between the standard object and custom object? How can I identify whether this is a standard object or some object is a custom object? How can I identify? The identification is always custom objects are ending with __C. You have a name of the object and then you will see __C. Whenever you see the object name __C, this is the API name of the object. So wherever the object is ending with __C is nothing but it's a custom object. It's a custom object. C is nothing but a custom object. __C is nothing but custom object. So this is how you will be able to identify whether the particular object is a custom object or a standard object. Now, how to create a custom object? So navigation steps are set up, object manager, go to the label, there is a object name. So when you go to the object manager, here we have an option called create. So when you click on a create, you will see the option called custom object. Do not click on the second one, that is from the spreadsheet, we are creating it. So we are focusing on right now custom object. So when you click on the custom object, there is a screen that gets open. And this screen, on this screen, we have a certain mandatory fields. We have certain mandatory fields. Label. Label is nothing but what is the object name. Plural label is nothing but what is the object name in plural. So for example, if it is an account, so plural label is a accounts. And then object name is automatically populated. This one object name is basically the API name of the object. As soon as you enter the label, the object name is auto-populated. And then a record name is also auto-populated based on the whatever the object name is there. Now, if you wanted to change, you can change it. So record name is nothing but a field name. Record name is nothing but a field name. It's a standard field name. It's a standard field name. And data type, we have only two data types. One is the text and second one is the auto number. Whenever we are creating the new object, data type, we will see only two data types. One is a text data type, another one is a auto number data type. Only two data types we can see it on the custom object. Now let's go ahead and see, let's create it. So assume that we are going to create a student object. So let's go ahead and create a student object. Click on setup, object manager. And once you click on the object manager, here you see the create. Just click on this drop down and then create a custom object. Now, it is giving a warning here permissions for these objects are disabled for all profiles by default. Permissions for all this object disabled for all profile. So by default, whenever you are creating a custom object, permissions will be off. You can enable the object permission in a permission set or by editing the custom profile. So here, while creating the object, you cannot define whether this object should be accessible by all the profiles or all the users. You cannot decide it. By default, it is a off. So whenever we create a custom object, make sure that you have to go to the profile or permission set and then enable the custom object. So the first one which I'm giving is a student here. So as soon as I give a student, the object name is auto-populated and then the record name is auto-populated. Now plural is, I'll just give a students. Start with vowel sound is basically if you want any sounds to be applied. So in that case, we use it. That is just for a fun. We do not use it in the real time. And next one is a context sensitive help setting. This is we have already discussed. If you wanted to create a custom object by using the Visualforce page, then check this and select the content name. Otherwise, use the standard Salesforce behavior. And then here they enter the record name. So this record name is, right now I'm creating the custom object. Whenever we are creating the custom object, the first field is always created from the object, which is a standard field. This is a standard field, which is created by the object. So whenever we are creating the custom object, it will ask, what is the field name that you wanted to create it? So this is the field name. So I'm giving the student name. Data type is a two types. One is a text. That means whenever you are creating a new record, user or anybody who are trying to create a new record, they can enter the text. Or if you want auto number to be applied, then what will happen? You have to give a format of the auto number. For example, if it is a student, okay, so I'll say that S, and then I'll give here the format it is given. So what is this? You will, if you click on that, it will show you this. So basically, when it says only 0, required the sequence number, 1 or more zeros enclosed in curly braces. So if you give y, mm, so these all details it has given. If you give a 1 0, 3 zeros, more than 3 zeros, and if you give a year, month, and 0, what is how the format will be created? If you give a y, mm, hyphen 0, what will happen? It will take the current year hyphen, and what are the first record is there, it will take that record. If you just give a 0, it starts with 1. If you give a 3 zeros also, it starts with 1 because the prefix zeros does not show. But the format number will be always like this. So the sequence number, you will not see any differences, but formatted number will be changed. Formatted number, where when you will see it, when you are exporting the data from Salesforce, that time you will be able to see the formatted number. So this has a leading zeros. If you give a 0, there is no leading zeros. If you give more than 3 zeros, so those zeros will be added to the number. But if you give a y, mm, or if you give a some number here, post box number, so in that case, PO hash, and if you give a 0, what will happen? Post box number hash, and then it will be added like this. So there will be, whenever you are creating a new record, the record number and what are the prefixes there, it will take the prefix of that. So how those prefix, how we will decide it? Basically, I'll say here display format. So right now I'm going to take it as a text because I wanted to show this. So I'll take a text, and then if you want, these all steps are optional features. Basically, this is if you wanted to allow in the reports. For example, whenever you are creating a report, you want this object to be visible in the reports. So in that case, we will say allow reports, allow activities. So allow activities is basically if there are any activities happening on this object by the user. For example, user is keep on changing the date, or user is changing the field, or user is changing some information. So in that case, I wanted to track what is happening on that particular field. So I wanted to allow this object level at the higher level, I wanted to allow them to activities and then track field history. So this is a higher level of the activities. And then within that, if I wanted to track any field history for this, okay, for this object, I wanted to enable certain field history. Then you can check this track field history, so that what will happen if you wanted to track any field, you have to go to a place called track field history. So when you go there, the object will be displayed. This object will be displayed. Otherwise, the object will not be displayed. This is for the charter group. If you wanted to allow anything related to this charter group, and this enabling license. So this is indicates, this is a new thing which came, I guess, indicates if this is an object is licensed by the Salesforce and whether the users require a permission to set a license for it. So in case if user wants to perform anything on this object, if they wanted to, maybe they require a certain license. Only when they have a license, they can access this object. And this is the object classification, basically sharing the records. So first at the top level, object level, you have to decide it. Any records that are created within this object, whether it is allowed for sharing or not. Or whenever we are implementing the integration, during that time, if I wanted to use this object or not. So that is a bulk API, stringing API. Deployment status is if you are still working on it, then it means in development. If you are done and if you have pushed to the production, that means it is a deployed. Search status is nothing but when you are searching here any text related to this record, this object related records, if you wanted to allow the user to search. So for example, if I'm searching a student name, if I don't check this, this object will not give me in the result. Whatever the data is there, it will not give me in the result. But if I check this, the records will be on this object, whatever the records that are matching with that criteria, the search criteria, it will show the records. And the next one is the object creation options. This is available only when custom object is first created. Add nodes and attachment related list to the default page layout. If you wanted to add the attachment nodes to this custom object, you can check this. But now I'm not going to use the nodes and attachment. And the second one is a launch new custom tab wizard. That means whenever this object is created. So right now, whenever I click on this save button, immediately create a tab for this. So for creating a tab, again, it goes to the next window. If I uncheck this, what will happen if I click on a save? It will not create a tab. It will not create a tab. So right now I'm going to create a tab for this. So click on a save. Invalid data must include the sequence number. So let's take text, click on save. So it went to the tab. Now student, I have to choose what is the icon for this tab style. So the icon is, let me take some icon which is reflecting. I'll take this. Okay, so I'll click on next. Now, is this should be profile level. When I'm creating a tab, that time it will ask whether you want this particular object to be available for all the profiles. So do you want this to be available for all the profiles or any specific? So by default, I'm going to say default on and then click on next. When I click on next, it is going to ask me the app level. Do you want to include this object at the app level? So for now, I'm going to take it at the sales, service, marketing. So sales, we have a lightning also. So I'll check this. Okay, so click on some scar ID also. Let's check it. Click on save. Now the object is created. Once the object is created, do you see here API name? API name is added with the student _ C and the custom is checked. Custom is checked. That means this is a custom object. custom is checked, and API name is, it is ending with __C. Now, if I go to the fields level, do you see here student name? It is a standard field. Standard field which is created during the object creation. There is no __C for this. It is a standard field. But if I create a new one, then it is going to be the __C. So for all the custom fields also, it is going to add __C. So for example, let me go ahead and create one field. Whenever we are creating the field, there are different data types. Right now, what are the data types we have discussed in the primitive data type? Similarly, in the Salesforce, when you are creating a new field, there are different data types which are available. It will ask what type of data type field you wanted to create. So we have a data type called auto number, formula, lookup relationship, master detail relationship, external lookup relationship. Now I'm not going to focus on these three. Okay, these three I'm not going to focus on. So right now, what are the data type? Checkbox, currency, date, date time, and then we have email, geolocation, number, percentage, phone, pick list, multi-select, text area long, text area rich, text encrypted, time, URL. So right now I'm going to create a text. Click on text. Text is, what is the difference between the text area long, text area rich, text encrypted is, text is where you can enter what is the length you needed. So for example, you are creating a text, I need a length of 10 digits. So you can specify that. So allow user to enter any combination of letters and numbers, certain length you can give it. Text area is, you can enter up to 255 characters. You can enter up to 255 characters. Text area long is, you have these many characters. Text area rich is similar length you can enter, but the text area formatted, it is similar like a formatted. When I say formatted is nothing but when you send an email. So for example, if I click on this email, not this. Okay, so this is a rich text. This is a rich text. Bold, italic, I can upload image, I can insert emoji, and I can make it in the bullet list, right? Everything, this is whatever I can see here, this is a rich text. That means rich text will have a more flexibility to add an image, text in certain format, and list. You can add emojis, everything it can be added. So that is a text, rich text. Okay, so right now I'm going to create a just text. So I'll create a next. So I'll add age. So field name is automatically displayed. Length I can give up to how much I wanted. But age, do I need an integer? I do not need, age should be the integer. I do not need a text, right? This is a text format. No, age is an integer. I do not need that. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take email instead of that age. I'll take the field name as an email. Length is 45. Length is 45. Then I'm going to click on a next. I'm just creating the field here because we are going to use this field further. So click on a next.
Now we have email data type we have, right? So,
yeah. So I'll change that. So let's go ahead and create a save. So right now I have created the email, right? Whenever I create it, it is field name is automatically __C. Now by mistakenly I have added the text here, but actually it should be the email data type. Actually it should be the email data type. Now I already created it. So what can I do? I have an option here, either edit and delete. I have an option here. If you go to the specific field level, each field have, if you wanted to modify it, you can modify it. So for example, if I click on edit, will I be able to change the data type from text to email? So here we have an option called change field type. Change field type. So I have created the data type called text. Now I wanted to change this to the email. Now we can click on a change field type. When I click on a change field type, what happened? It came back to the data type. It came back to the data type. Now I'm going to change that to the email. Change that to the email. Now click on a next. Now immediately it is going to apply. Before it was showing here 45, right? Now it is not showing any length. So here, as soon as I convert, as soon as I change my data type, immediately the format has been changed. Now I can simply click on a save button. I can simply click on a save button. Now my data type is email. So like this, you can modify it. If you wanted to delete, you can delete it. So for the custom fields also, it is ending with __C. It is ending with __C. Custom field, custom object always ends with __C. Now, any questions on this object and a field? If
Yeah,
Yeah.
I had a doubt. Can you just go in create new custom field? Sorry, new custom object.
Custom object.
Yeah. So in that one, can you go down? What is the object classification? Can you, because my internet got disconnected, I did not get. Object class, did we discuss this?
Allow sharing is basically if you wanted to share the certain records. So you have to define at the object level first, whether this object, whatever the records are created within this object, will it allow sharing for the records which are there in this object? And the second one is if we are implementing any integration, REST integration or SOAP integration, any integration, streaming integration, if we are implementing it, does this object, when we are querying in the integration, does this object should be allowed to implement the logic within the integration or not? So by default, it is on.
But what does that mean? I mean, this object is classified as an enterprise application object. When these settings are disabled, this object is classified as light application object. So what is the meaning of that? No, what does that mean?
Enterprise application object. What is the enterprise application in general term?
With the enterprise license, you know?
Yeah, what is the enterprise in general term?
Pertaining to a company, you know?
Plus application plus.
Sorry. In general term, what is the enterprise? Why do we call enterprise?
Related to number of companies.
Right. So when these settings are enabled, okay, I'm enabling this setting. This object is classified as in this organization. What are the Salesforce org is there? Right, for this Salesforce org, we are going to enable this particular object so that what will happen, it will be allowed for them to share, for them to implement in the integration. If you disable this within this org, we cannot be able to use this object for the sharing or for the API implementation.
Okay, thanks.
So any other questions? Now, once we create an object, if you wanted to find it, you can find here student. So right now we can see here label is a student, student underscore underscore C, custom object. When it is created, last modified, not the created date, last modified date is student. When are the last modified on this object level and is it deployed or not? So these information we can see. And once we click on a student object, it is redirected to the detail section. In case if you wanted to modify anything on the object level, click on that edit and you can change here. For now, it is showing here text. Now, let me go ahead and create one. So student, I'll not be able to see this, refresh. So click on this. Now let's click on student. Now we always see the plural name of the object. Whenever we search here, if you see here on the this navigation, so on this navigation also, if you observe this, object names are plural names. It's not a label name, object label name. It doesn't show the object label name. It always shows the object plural name on the navigation bar. Similarly, we have a student. Students is also a plural name of the object. Now, when I create a new object, so what is asking here? It is asking me the student name. Student name is a text. Student name is text. So for example, I'm entering the Bharati here. So email. So let's take I'm entering some email here. Now click on save. These are the two fields which are displaying whenever I create a new record in the object. Now let's assume that I'm going to modify the object. I'm modifying the object. When I modify the object, I'm changing the data type from the text to the auto number. I'm changing the data type from text to auto number. So when I change the text to auto number, so what I'll give is yes -000 and start with 1. That means whatever the record is created for the first time, it starts with 1 and continuously it will increment by 1. Now I'm changing the data type of this particular field, right? This is a standard field, the student name, which is created during the creation of the object. Now I'm changing from the text to the auto number. When I change a text to the auto number, what will happen when I create? Now let's go back, refresh.
ID is generated.
ID is generated. Before it was showing me the two fields to enter. One is a student name and the email. Now if I click on a new button, it will show only one field. It will not ask me to enter the student name. It will not ask me to enter the student name. So for example, I'll take Shailaja, sl@gmail.com. Now click on save. Now once the record is created, it will automatically generate the ID because I said that S hyphen curly braces 4 zeros I said, right? And then starting record is a 1 record. Now after this, if I create any record, the next record will be S hyphen 0002. If I create a new record, it will be S hyphen 002. So for example, I'm creating another record. So I'll say am_@gmail.com, click on save. This time it is a 002. So it will increment by 1. So that is ID is generated. So we have to always ask a client whenever we are creating the new custom object. The first question to the client is, do you want auto number to be generated by default from the system, or do you need any information that is tracked? There is a unique ID that you wanted to track it, or do you wanted to handle in the text? So if they say that, no, we do not have any unique ID. If they say they do not have any unique ID or any unique text, in that case, you can do the auto number. You can generate an auto number. So that auto number will be automatically generated whenever they create a record. Okay, any questions?
Ma'am, here one doubt I have. Hello.
Yes, yes.
Actually, in Lightning, we have been implemented like a tab by using app hostable, right, ma'am, there. So same way here, we are implementing students as tab in the object manager.
Yeah.
So what is the difference in between these? That day Ram Gopal also asked while the creation of tab by using app hostable, what the difference here, ma'am? And here one more thing, we are using icons, standard icons for that. Here student is there, right, ma'am? Here book symbol is there, right? For this we are using icons. Here we are using tab style for these icons. Is it right, ma'am?
Yeah. So
what the difference between?
That is fine. But let me ask one question.
Yes, ma'am.
Lightning tab, we have created a object or created a tab. Using the Lightning, we have created a tab on the day, right?
Yes.
Will you able to create a custom fields when you add a Lightning tab? And will you able to implement layout and adding the fields? Some fields we need to create it, and I need to create a certain buttons which can be handled for the admin team. I don't want the development team once it is deployed to the production. If tomorrow clients come back to add another field, and that field should be displayed on the page layout, which one is the easiest to implement a Lightning tab or to implement an object where admin can handle?
Admin side is easy. Can handle.
Admin can handle.
Yes,
by using the Lightning, what we are doing is I'm implementing the custom component. And you implementing custom component. By using the custom component, I'm creating the tab, Lightning tab, I'm creating it. So that custom component is very, it's not easy to handle by the client. Tomorrow, if they wanted to change anything, they need to contact developers. Even for small change also, they need to modify it. And moreover, it does not have a flexibility to play it. Now here in the object level, if I create this tab, what will happen if I wanted to make any changes on the button level, or I wanted to change the layout, or I wanted to make a modification to display only 2 fields, or I wanted to change here certain rule, like I just wanted to display in single, and also I wanted to see the related list of this object, which is not possible. If you are going to, that is only when we use it. Now I know that Lightning tab is going to use for printing or displaying some information, or which I think that in future also the changes is not going to happen on this particular tab. There is some tax information is displayed based on the certain information at the different object. I'm displaying the tax information. The layout doesn't change. The tax information layout doesn't change. In those scenarios, what we do is we will, based on the client requirement, if client is fine to implement in the Lightning, right? So we can use it, but mostly, but do not ever compare the object with the Lightning tabs. Object is you are creating the data table where it is storing the data in the database.com. But in the Lightning, we are not doing that. We are not storing the data, right? We are just building certain information using the custom component. Yeah, it might store it, but for that also we need to put a lot of effort, and the coding has to be implemented where in order to store the record. But where if I already have some flexibility on the Salesforce, which I can implement an object and I can add based on that, better I'll go with the easy way instead of spending in the Lightning, instead of implementing object using the Lightning component or LWC component.
Swapna, just correct me if I'm wrong, okay? I feel that, the Lightning component, the tab using Lightning component, we use only for standard object which already exists, even custom object, but which already exists. But this tab is when you create a new custom object. You cannot create a new custom object using the Lightning tab. Am I correct, Swapna?
Lightning, you can also implement it not only for that. For example, you are not dealing with the custom object or stand object. There is a requirement from the client to implement certain page, okay, which is not dealing with any of those. So they wanted the information to just create it and place it, right? So in that case, we use it. But yeah, for the existing object, if you wanted to retrieve the data, and in order to store the data, we use the lightning. Yes. Yeah, that is correct. But there is also some scenarios that those are very rare scenarios which we will be implementing to display certain data. When I say certain data is basically I'm implementing the form, or I'm displaying the table, right? Or I'm just displaying the vehicle information using the lightning. So in those scenarios, which we are dealing with, but definitely if there is an existing object is there, then we will implement the lightning. If we wanted to create a new one, we will be creating the object manager.
Swapna, I just need one clarity. Like for example, if we created through the object manager, that will create one table in database.com, right? So can I link? Can I create one relationship with standard tables like 1-to-1, like primary? We are having primary foreign relationships, right? Primary key foreign key relationships. Those kind of scenarios can we handle on custom objects?
Yes.
Okay.
Hi, Swapna. Difference between like a classic and lightning, creating tab.
Yeah.
Any difference is there? Maybe.
Yes, there is
Sorry?
a difference. Yeah, there is a difference. First of all, lightning
Yeah.
tabs, you cannot
Recording tab as a
Yeah, go ahead.
tab as in there is a difference between a classic, I think maybe. Here directly we have to assign the tab like a service, like marketing. There is a difference process, maybe classic, I think. That is
Let's
correct?
go ahead and create one object in the classic.
Yeah, sure.
So switch to Salesforce Classic, setup, and then here search for the object manager. So in the object manager, oh, sorry, it won't be object manager, it is a objects. You will see the create objects. In create objects, click on
New
custom object. And for example, I'm creating the custom object called patient. Patient. Now, similarly, like a lightning, it is asking the record name, data type text, I'm giving it. For now, optional features, I'm not checking anything. So deployed, here is the option called launch new custom tab. So click on a save. When I click on a save, it will take me to the tab, similar like a lightning, how we have. So in the tab, I can select patient details. Sorry, tab style, I can select it and click on a next. And default on, click on next. You can include it in the apps, whether you wanted in the one application or multiple application. Do you see any screen differences between the lightning and say classic? Any screen that is a different between the lightning and classic?
No, I think they previously they assigned the tab with the patients like different, I think.
They were not having the launch tab. What they used to do is
Tabs.
using the tabs, they used to do it. But right now we have a functionality same in the classic and lightning. They made it same.
Okay.
Any other questions? Okay, so let's move on. Right now we are clear about the object, custom fields as well. Now I'm going to talk about the sObject data type. sObject is nothing but Salesforce object. So Salesforce specific data type holding the standard and custom object. sObject holds the standard object or custom object. Now syntax is sObject name. That means if it is a standard object, the sObject name is account. Variable name, you can give any variable name. Example, account AC. Now this is a standard. This is a standard object name, and then I'm giving the variable name. In terms of custom object, in custom object, you can give student underscore C, and then you can give a variable. If it is a standard object, we have a direct names, account, contact, case, opportunity, lead, whatever the object name is there, that object name and then variable. If it is a custom object, then give a custom object API name of the custom object. So the API name is always ends with underscore C. So, and then variable name. Now let's go ahead and let's see. Let's go to the developer console. What I'm going to do is sObject declaration. sObject declaration is, if it is a standard object, I'll use account ACC. If it is a contact, CN. If it is a lead, I'll just use the lead object name, and then I can also give same variable name similar to the object name. Now, if I try to execute this, what will happen? It is executed, right? It is executed perfectly fine. Now for the custom object, I can give student underscore C. And then I can give some variable name, and similarly patient underscore C. Right, so I'm going to execute it. When I execute this, what is happening here? Patient. When I execute this, what is happening here? What is happening at the back end? It is executing the, basically the compilation is happening it. It is executing it, but I don't see any output here. So what I'm doing here, basically, I'm just creating the empty container in the database. There is a memory will be allocated for this. There is a memory will be allocated for this, but that is a empty. There is nothing is there in that. If I give a system.debug ACC, what it will say? If I give a
is it empty or null?
You can think null, empty, because we are talking about the database.com term. We are not talking about the JavaScript term. If we are talking about the JavaScript term, null and empty is a difference is there, right? So here I'm going to create it, right? So in the database.com, there is no value will be there. Okay, so here, here it is giving the null. Assume that it is empty container. There is nothing is there. It cannot print empty. When it is empty, it cannot print empty. Definitely, if it is there is nothing is there, then it will print value null, or it cannot give here space. It cannot print me the space, or it cannot print me empty, or it will not print single quotes. It will not give, Apex will not give if it is an empty kind of a thing. So basically it will print null. But assuming that I'm creating the empty container, there is nothing is there, but the memory is allocated for that. The memory is allocated for that. Now, so there is a memory is allocated. That means in further lines, there is some logic is going to be implemented for this particular variable. Whenever it is implemented, go and store that information into that particular memory, that particular space in the database.com. We are just declaring it here. That means in further lines, below the lines, we are going to implement certain logic for this. Whenever the logic is executed, store the related information in this container. What are the ACC container, CN container, lead container, what are the containers are there? Store it into only that specific container. Now, just a step back. So whenever we go to the account, if I have to create an account, what we will do it? For example, I'm on the account. What it will do? What we have to do if we have to create an account?
We
have to pass values.
We need to give some values.
First, I need to click on a new button. Which are the object? If I'm creating a new record, the only place is, the option is I need to click on a new button. By clicking the new button, I can create that specific object record. If I'm on the account object, if I click on a new record, I can create a new account. If I'm onto the opportunity, if I click on a new button, then I'm going to create a new opportunity. So new is the button which is going to tell us that we are going to create a new account record, right? In similar, by using the object, by using the apex, right? By using the apex, we have a apex here. Now, by using the code, how can I create it? Now I know how to create a new account in the Salesforce, but how can I create a new record in the developer console, or by using the apex code? How can I create a new record? How can I create a new record?
By using SOQL.
We have a concept called in the sObject data type called a new. Concept called new. So what is this means? So for example, if it is a standard object, what we use, there are different ways we can create a record in Apex. So first one is account A equal to, I'm using here keyword called new. I'm using the keyword called here new. And new, then whatever the object is there, that object. And then I'm passing the value. Now this I'll come to later. So if I say account A equal to new account, that means I am clicking on the new button. I'm clicking on the new button. So whenever I say here account ACC equal to new account, that means I just clicked on the new button. So whenever you see the code which says, this is a basically initialization. We call this as a initialization. I am initializing the account. So whenever we click on this new button, what is happening when I click on this? The empty window gets open. There is no data in it. Everything is null, right? Everything is null. There is nothing is there. All of them are blank values, no data at all. So this is what I'm doing in when I say account ACC equal to new account is nothing but I'm clicking on the new button. The page gets open. Now, when the page gets open, I need to enter the mandatory information. So where are the mandatory? First one is a name is there. So if I say name equal to CEO123, I'm entering the data here, right? So similarly in the Apex, what you can do is once you declare it, once you initialize this by using the new keyword, when you initialize it, if you wanted to give a value to the specific field, okay, you have to use the API field. Now, what is the API field I'm using? I'm using the name. What is the name here? The first one, account name. Account name is a mandatory. So I'm using the name equal to, I'll say that CEO 345. Whatever I'm doing in the Salesforce, same thing I'm doing it here. Right? Here I clicked on the name CEO 123. Name equal to CEO 123. That's the same details I am passing here. Name equal to CEO 345. Now, if I wanted to add more values, you can add it. We have another field called rating. So rating equal to warm. Rating equal to warm. So if I try to execute this logic, let's execute this entire logic. Click on execute. ACC is containing name CEO 345 rating warm. Right? So I have given here. So what I did in Apex, I just initialized it. Account ACC equal to new account. I clicked on a new button. Inside that bracket, inside the account, the open and close, I have given a name equal to CEO 123, rating 345. Right? I have given these two field information into the here. This is the first way to implement it. This is a first way to implement. Account ACC equal to new account, name equal to CEO 345, rating equal to warm. If you wanted to add more fields, you can add more fields by specifying the comma and enter the API name of the field. Now, how do I know the API name of the field? So go to the object manager. So I clicked on the edit object. So go to the object and click on the fields and relationship. API field is nothing but the field name. This is the API field. This is API field. Now for account name, API field name is name. So I have used the name equal to CEO 324. And then I have used the rating. For the rating, I have taken the API field name. So API field name is nothing but this is field name is equal to API field name. Now, for example, if I have a custom object. Now, if I have a custom object, let's go to the developer console. Now I have a custom object here. For custom object, how to do it? So we have a student. So for student __ C, CT equal to, I'm using the keyword called new. And then I use student __ C. Student __ C. And then I have a, how many fields I have here? In the student object, how many fields do I have?
Email.
Email.
Only
Email
one
name.
field is there. Only one field. The other
Email
field is
field.
auto number.
Auto number.
em123@gmail.com. Now this is, I'm initializing it, right? Now if I execute this, will it create, what happened? Will it create a record? If I execute this, will it create a record or not?
No,
Here, comma, I think.
Will it create a record or not?
Yes.
Yes, it will create a record.
Okay, so let's go ahead and see account. Click on all accounts. Now, do I see CEO 345? I'm sorting with account name. Do I see CEO 345?
No.
No.
But what happened here? It says that it is giving me the result account name equal to CEO 345 rating warm, but it did not create a record. It did not create a record.
You have to use insert, I guess.
So what is happening here is I have a database. Now this is my database. Assume that this is my database. When I say account ACC equal, so when I say account ACC, when I say account ACC is nothing but what it does, there is a space is created here. There is a space is created here. Right now, this is nothing is there. No information is there. Now, next what I did, account ACC equal to new account. Then I have given the API field name, which is a name equal to CEO 345, CEO 345, comma, rating equal to, assume that warm. Now this information I have mentioned. Now what happened here? It created, when I executed this, when I initialized this, what happened here? There are two fields. Okay, ACC is, there is a container is created here. After creating a container, within this, they have given the two fields. So that means this box one and this another box is another one. It created some, within the ACC, it created a, okay, name. This is a name, this is a rating, and it is not yet committed the data. The data is not yet committed in the database. It is just created the space there, but the data, what are the CEO 345 warm is there. It is not yet committed into the database. In order to commit that, in order to tell the system, go and store this information here in the name field, store this information here in the rating field. In order to tell this, we have to commit it. Tell the system, go ahead and commit this information. To commit, we have to use a keyword called, which is a DML operation, insert. So debug, open, I need to say insert. So insert ACC. Now, I will tell you the differences between before the insert and after the insert. Now I'm printing here before insert. Insert is nothing but go ahead and store the data in database.com. This is after insert. After insert. Now let me go ahead and execute this. Click on execute highlighted. Right. So now let's click on this. Now, what is the differences between these two? What is the differences do you see?
ID has created after creating the record.
Yeah, ID is created.
Created.
Recording.
Right.
It means a new record is created.
Right. So that means when I have an ID generated by the system, that means the data is committed here. It stored the CEO 0345 and here it stored the data warm. It stored the data warm. Now it is committed to the system. When it is committed to the system, that means compilation is done perfectly fine. There is no error during the compilation, and the data is stored in the database.com. And once it is saved the data, then it's created the ID. ID is created by the system. Now if I go and check, let's refresh this. Now you see CEO 345. If you click on this, the data only we have entered, account name and the rating, nothing else. Now similarly, if you wanted to create a record for patients, what you have to do, you have to insert the data. First we need to insert it. Now here, student, insert ST. I'm going to execute this highlighted one. The record is created. So the next record will be S-0003. Right? So this is the record which I have created from the Apex.
Swapna, it's mean that ACC is holding temporary data, which is showing a console but not in database.
Yes. Now, if you observe this debug log, okay, if you observe this debug log, what is happening here? Okay, the execution started here. The execution is started. First one is a user information. It's basically who is running this logic or who is executing the code. So that is the user information. Now execution started. After the execution, the actual code is started. Now where are we running this code? From the anonymous window. From the anonymous window. Now we have highlighted the code and executed it. So before insert, there is a 2 lines which got executed. That is the initialization of account. And then we are printing this value. Now DML begins here. That means the commit is started here. The commit is started here. DML insert, OPP:insert, type, which type? Account. How many rows? 1 row. And then during the inserting the data in database, it is going to check duplicate detector. The duplicate detector will run automatically by the system. The duplicate detector will be automatically runs by the system. Now we have a separate concept called duplicate detector, duplicate rules. There is a separate concept is there. Right now, I'm not going in depth of the duplicate rules, but whenever you are doing the DML operation, that means insert, update, delete, anything you are doing it. So by default, duplicated detector will run and the duplicate rules also gets executed. So here the duplicate rule that is getting executed on the standard account duplicate rule, DML type insert. Now from here, it started the duplicate detector and it is finished here. So these all logic is, that means it is not yet committed right now. It is still in the process of committing the record in the database.com. During that process, it is checking, is there any duplicate rule? The criteria is matching or not. For which object? The entity type equal to account. Entity type is nothing but a object. Object equal to account. And they have a certain rules in the duplicate rules. So is it matching or not? So everything it is going to verify and it is ending the duplicate detector here. Once it is ended, then my DML operation is ending here. So it is beginning here 002 and it is ending here my DML operation. So when it is ending between these two, I did not see any error. So it is successfully executed. It is successfully inserted the record in the database.com. Now coming back to the debug log. So wherever you see user underscore debug is nothing but we are printing the debug logs. We are printing the debug logs. Debug after insert. I'm just giving the information here after the insert because this level, whenever I'm ending the DML, it is perfectly executed fine, and then I'm executing the there is a ID got generated. Now after the ID got generated, okay, again it will execute the duplicate detector. Now code unit starts here, and this time it is a different rule that got executed, or it might execute multiple times duplicate rules. Now let me clear this. Now let's scroll down. Now once it is insert is done, then we have a certain limits that will be always executed from the system. Okay, this always generates it. How many, we have not discussed all of this. So here one of the option is DML statement. DML statement which we are doing is insert. So how many inserts are done out of 150? Limit is 150. DML insert limit is 150. Out of 150, I have executed one. So if I have a code, if I have written an Apex code, okay, if that Apex code has a 151 DML operation, as soon as it sees this limit, immediately it will error out saying that there is a limit exceed. The error you will get limit exceed. So right now, how many it got executed? 1 out of 150. 1 out of 150. That means we have done one DML operation, which is a insert. And number of DML rows, 1 out of 10,000. Number of DML rows, 1 out of 10,000. How many rows? Only one record we have inserted. Only one row. That's it. CEO 03, CEO 345 we have created. Only one row. How many statements did I execute it? Statement is only one. Rows, how many? Only one. Now it always check whenever you are executing a certain code, not only the developers, even if Salesforce, if end user is performing anything on the user interface, that time also it executes this limit. That time also it executes limits. And sometimes you see CPU timeout. Maximum CPU timeout is 10,000. Now, when will happen this CPU time is basically when you have a lot of code that is running at the backend. Lot of code is you have a multiple places that you have implemented the logic. Multiple places you have implemented the logic. So that means first it executed this logic, then immediately there is another logic it is executed. Now during the execution of this, it called another logic, it executed this. Again, it came back to this. Okay, now it executed the half of the logic. Again, it executed this. Like this, if there are 10 logics which are declared in 10 different places. Okay, so far we have discussed Apex Visual Force Lightning. Assume that all of the places we have implemented the logic for this particular object. Now, when I'm executing a certain logic, if it executes all different places, that means I'm reaching more than 10,000 CPU limit. That time it will automatically, you see that the error called CPU timeout error. The heap size automatically, if CPU timeout error happened, the heap size also you will see sometime. Heap size you will see whenever the batch of records that are executed, more records, there are a lot, like whole night the batch is getting executed. There are so many things which is happening, or there is a heavy load on that. So that time you will see. So these all, I'm just giving the information so that you can cross verify whenever you are running, whenever you are executing certain code in the real time. Before pushing your code to the production, just cross verify these limits. Cross verify these limits. This will help you just to make sure that there is nothing which is causing the problem, especially for the DML socle, social, and a heap size, CPU timeout, or if call out are very rare, that is for the integration. So if you are implementing anything this related to socle, social, we have not discussed those things, but these are the very keywords. So the members who are already working on it, so before pushing your code, just cross verify these limits in the debugging, so that it will help you to understand how much it is going to take time. Also,
Swapna.
yeah.
Yeah, Swapna, I have a query. So what do you mean by number of query rows and number of SQL queries?
Number of SQL queries. How many queries you are running? How many socle queries you are running? How many rows it is returning? Number of query rows. How many rows it is returning? Query is not nothing but it's not a row. Query is not equal to rows. Query is how many queries you are running it.
Okay. Okay, now suppose, okay, like I have a,
We have not discussed the socle, social, query, rows, these all things. So others will not understand. Let's not.
Yeah. No. My question is about the limit. Now, suppose we have two components, okay? In one component, I'm display my component is displaying suppose 3,000 records. In another component, my it is displaying suppose 6,000 records. Okay, something like that. Okay, means it is exceeding this 50,000 limit. Okay, so that means my program will crash, or it is only per component. This number of query rows.
Single transaction. Per single transaction. Per single transaction, it will qualify how many limits. Basically, the limits will be applied in single transaction.
Okay, got it. Okay.
Okay, so standard object, this is account A equal to new account, name equal to ACC1, rating equal to 1. So the other way of declaration, other way of initialization is instead of you writing in the this brackets. Right now, what we are doing it, we are giving the name and the value within this bracket. Now, instead of doing that, there is another way which you can do it. First, initialize it. Don't write anything inside this name, and then take ACC2. Then take ACC2 dot name equal to Rekha, ACC2 dot rating equal to 1. So either you can do it this way or you can do it this way. Both the ways it works. Whichever the way you feel it, you can go ahead. So if you are going with the name below, not writing within this brackets, that means you need to take a reference of ACC2. You need to take a variable references here. What are the variable is declared? That variable references, you need to take that. Now let's see, let's go to the debug log. Open execute anonymous. Click on this. Clear all. Now same thing, whatever I did it. So what I'm going to do is account ACC2 equal to new account. Now this initialization is done. Now below I need to give a values to the field. That means I need to give name equal to some name here. Let's say Imran. And then I need to give rating equal to 1, right? But how system will know that whatever you are giving here below, is it related to this account? How the system will know? I need to tell the system that there should be a reference for this, right? In order to tell the system, I need to give a references here AC2 dot. That means I'm initializing it here. And once I'm initializing it, there is a variable that refer to the account. So whenever I say name within the account, rating, when I say rating within the account, no, you can do this. Any questions on this? This is the basic and very important. Any questions? When you do this on the same line, you do not need a references at all. But once you put a semicolon, if you are writing in the next line, then you need to tell the system, whatever I'm writing in the next line, which is related to this. So how you will tell it? You have to give a reference of the variable. Yes, Imran, any questions?
No. Understand.
Okay, any other? Okay, so here also, if you say insert ACC2, what will happen? It will insert the record and you can see that record in Salesforce. So this is custom object, which we have also discussed. If it is a custom object, you need to put API name of the object, which is __C, and then new. New is the keyword. That means we are initializing the new record. So we are initializing it here and giving the details of student. Type 2 is not mentioning anything on the during the initialization. We are taking the reference of the variable dot, whatever the fields are there within the object, those fields. Now we will see collection data type tomorrow. So far, what did we have discussed?
Data types.
Primitive data types in the primitive data types.
Data types. Yeah. Date time, date method.
Date time, Boolean ID.
Methods.
Boolean ID, date time,
Object. sObject. Assign data type new.
data type new,
No. Custom object creation, custom field creation. Right? Custom object creation, custom field creation, DML operation.
Yeah.
And the debug logs, how to check the limits and how the execution is happening in the backend in the debug log. And how to change the data type of the field, how to change the data type of the field.
By clicking on
object manager fields and relations.
Okay, and then we
Data
select
type.
the field. Then after that,
data type in that field.
we need to click on the edit on that particular field. After clicking on the field edit, what is the option that we have to click on? What is the button we have to click on?
Change the data type.
change
Change data type.
Change field type.
Change field type. Yeah.
So this we have seen. How to find a number of days between the two dates.
Difference between
Days between.
Days between. How to find hour from the date time based on the local time zone.
date time based on
How to find hour from the date time based on the local time zone. Yes, what is the answer?
R function.
date time.
Date time dot hour function.
Hour function, hour method. What are the different data types in Salesforce?
Primitive, sObject, collective, enumeration.
Auto number.
Enumeration data types.
Yeah. And what is sObject data type?
Basically, it's a two types,
Specify
like
the
a standard objects and custom objects.
Custom objects.
Specific data type in
Yeah, it holds the standard object and custom object. This we have not seen. So write a Apex program. Write a small code. Do not write the Apex program. smart code in the anonymous window to convert the string date to date time. Convert string data type. Basically pass the string date and convert that into the date time. And the second one is write a code to get milliseconds from the data type. We have a minute, seconds, hour, minute, seconds, milliseconds, right? So from that, try to get the milliseconds from the date time. Homework 3, write a program to find a leap year for 2040. And this is the trial head. And another assignment is implement, create a new object, create new custom object. Custom object name is vehicle. Create new fields in this custom object. Vehicle name, model, create a vehicle name, model, color of the vehicle, buyer name, license number. Okay, create these 5 fields. Another homework, create a new record, new vehicle record. From Apex code, create a new vehicle record from Apex code. Now, whenever you create a code from Apex code, okay, that's fine. Yeah, create a new vehicle record from Apex code. Clear? Any questions? We are done the session today.